Hello and welcome to Face Check. Netrunner this time. This is the Wayland Games Netrunner Summer Run one-day event. Just a game night kit held on the 15th of August. Packs are legal up to Old Hollywood, and indeed I added a few cards from Old Hollywood just to see how they work. On the left is me playing Noise. You maybe have seen the sort of most up-to-date version of my Noise deck on the GNK.net videos. And on the right is Richard playing Engineering the Future, so core set HB. For those who don't know, well, if you follow Netrunner you will, but if you don't, this might be new to you. But Noise's ability as a runner, every time he installs a virus, the corp mills one card, milling the top card of R&D and putting it into archives. On the right, the HB core set identity, the first install each turn nets you 1 credit. So you know, beneficial to install every turn if you can, to make the most of it. Obviously my Noise deck built with viruses in mind. It's really designed to mill the corp deck out, and only gets agendas if it has to, as a backup plan more than anything else. Running Faust to get through ice, taking out the Crypsises, and with the wild side adjusted chronotype draw, usually having enough cards to get through most things. Here we started. I took a mulligan. I think Richard kept his hand. He installs, taking a credit, and then decides what to do with the rest of his cards. Now, a fairly standard opening, and for the corp side is install hedge fund, or install credit, something along those lines. With HB you get a credit for one of those installs, and by immediately moving to place an ice in a remote, I'm assuming he's some sort of rush deck. I'm going to try and score out before anything happens, and that's really what you should do against Noise. My turn wasn't too bad there either. Sure gambled, played wild side, so at the start of my turn I'm going to get to draw 2 cards, but at the cost of a click, and then installed cash, which is a virus. You'll see one of the cards face down on Richard's side there, and take the 3 money off it immediately. So there's that yellow bastard Jackson, something that you'll run in every corp deck. If you're running a corp deck that doesn't have Jackson, chances are it'll be stronger if you did. Jackson will eventually cycle out of rotation sometime, maybe 2017, 2018, and so expect to see a few more cards coming out from FFG that do similar things, or at least help you recover from agenda flooding or agendas all being in archives. So I can't let Jackson stay on the table. Click 2 because I've lost a click for wild side. I go get him, throw my credits around, and then clicks 3 and 4 I just click through Eli, Bioroid Ice. You can click to break the end of run subroutines on him, and then I spend the 3 to get rid of him. I have to assume that Richard's probably got another one in hand, which is why I gave him up quite so easily. So I'll need to be aware of that as I continue playing. Richard's quite new to the live scene, at least. He doesn't get to quite as many tournaments as he wanted. Obviously we had a bit of a chat at the start. He's fairly local to Wayland Games. Not really, I can't remember where Wayland Games is. One stop after Raleigh on the train if you're going. And this is my first time there. Very impressed with the setup. It's a very large play area. They have these very solid wooden tables that you can see there for the LCGs, but they've also massive area for war games, and can obviously accommodate, you know, easily 100 people, worthy to play a host to a bigger tournament. Prizes on offer for today were sort of a mix of 2 kits. Top prize was get the summer kit, Femme Fatale. Everybody was getting a swordsman. I think there was a number of the spring kits available as well. I think there was a lot of pop-ups up for grabs, and second place got a Guardian from that kit. So quite a lot to play for. Wasn't a massive tournament, only 9 of us, and I rocked up at the last minute having issues with trains, and so only just made it in time to start. Here I've run into HQ, hit Architect, bane of my life. Netrunner life at least. Architect is a piece of ice, a sentry, that if the subroutines fire, the first one allows you, the corp, to look at the top 5 cards of their deck and install one. And as engineer in the future, installing on the runner's turn is the first time, so you'll get a credit. Additionally, you can also install a card from either HQ or archives. So now I have to assume there's possibly an agenda and an ash in that remote, or perhaps a caprice, but at the moment Richard's quite poor, so I can go see. Now, Architect doesn't stop you. I get through, I get to see 1 card from HQ. I find Breaker Bay. Now, you know, it's really going to drive his economy, being able to res Adonis's and Eve campaigns for free, but I'm quite low on credits myself, and paying the 2 to trash it just doesn't seem to make sense. I don't care if he's got money, I don't do too many runs. Mostly I want to just mill cards, so having money is important for that. Here I make the run, and Richard's made a small mistake. He's installed 2 assets in the single remote. You can only have an asset or an agenda. You can have any number of upgrades as well as an asset or an agenda, but you can only have 1. We decide there to trash one of my choice, and it was the Eve, and then I paid to trash the Adonis. The Eve was technically the first one installed, or maybe I can't remember what we agreed, but basically for the error we just sorted it ourselves. There was no game night kit, you know, relatively friendly. If you can solve the issues on your own, then you should do so rather than pausing things to have the tournament organizer come over. Richard mostly just moneying up that turn then. Architect costing him 4 to res, left him a bit broke, and he couldn't protect either of those campaigns. Now I'm getting set up. My rig, once going, gets me a lot of actions in a turn. So I've got an Alt-R Aesops there. I'll be able to sell cash for 3 money and get my economy back online. And I also just played a Hacktivist Meeting. That's a current. I think I've only got 1 in my deck, maybe running 2. But with an asset heavy economy, can really punish HB if they don't score out an agenda to get rid of it. Hacktivist Meeting, every time a non-ice card is raised by the corp, they have to randomly trash a card from hand. You see a little bit of shaky leg syndrome going on. It does make the camera wobble a little. YouTube, last time I uploaded, spotted that and offered to do some stabilization, so when I upload it I'll see how that goes. So you know, nobody in much danger of scoring anything here. I've got no money, I'm only getting 3 clicks a turn, so I need to really get my engine going. I need to find an adjusted chronotype which will cancel out that lost click from Wildside, and I need to start installing viruses. Here I see I've got a sure gamble on the edge there. If I money sure gamble, I'll finish my turn on 9, which might be what I end up doing. Yeah, money gamble. Sure gamble gives you 4 credits, and then I bin a Gravedigger. Now again, Gravedigger's probably quite good against HB with the number of assets that they have. Once a campaign, an Eve campaign, an Adonis campaign is finished, it actually trashes, and that will give a token onto Gravedigger, which will allow me to perform a mill the next turn. Having, say, 2 Gravediggers out and being able to run and trash an asset and then mill without having any viruses and cards, or for no cost, really quite handy for this version of my deck. Keeps the need for money down, although eventually once I get going, you know, I'll have more money than I really need, and you know, possibly be better off with Crypsis rather than Faust when I have more money than cards. So there I decide that I'm not running anywhere anytime soon. Sell the Data Sucker, get myself up to 12 credits. Install Grimoire as my console. I also run a copy of Turntable. When the time comes, I will sell Grimoire and install Turntable, assuming the corps managed to get a couple of 2 or 3 pointers scored, and hope to swap maybe some of the 1 pointers that they think are safe in archives, not going to give me the win. In fact, I think I've got the turntable in hand there already. I also installed Autoscripter, so a one-off. Criminal hardware, I think it's 3 influence. The first time you install a program each turn, you get that click back. Now with a handful of cards and ideally a handful of viruses, it'll be very handy to get an extra click to install them, just to start milling even more quickly. Here I'm just sorting out sort of resources at the top, hardware and programs. So that server is now looking quite impressive. You know, two upgrades and a double advanced probably agenda in it. I'm behind on money, but if I can enforce the ice res, I might be doing okay. So I install Faust and then play I've Had Worse to get a handful of cards, which should be enough to get me through the ice. Now Faust is a unique AI breaker, breaks any type. Well, it's not unique as in you can only install one, but unique is in its function that you can use cards instead of money to pump and break subroutines. Unfortunately, Richard sees that one coming, installs Touring, which cannot be broken by AIs, and I don't have enough clicks to let the subroutine fire. So the run ends there, and that's pretty much it. And I end up trashing Beckman. Now Beckman's great if you can get her and paid for. 8 cost for an extra click every turn. Absolutely something worth doing. But because I'm quite low on money, she's unlikely to get played anytime soon, and so just clogging up my hand. Obviously preferred the other cards. Richard scored 3 points there. Eden Fragment, the first piece of ice he installs each turn. You can ignore any costs. So ordinarily ice costs 1 credit for every other bit of ice in there. This means you can ignore it, and you'll get 1 credit for his ID ability. Now Grimoire as a console gives +2 MU. It also gives a token or a virus token to every virus that you install, which I immediately use on Gravedigger to mill another card. So I'm 3 points down. He's got quite a secure remote. If he manages to continue the rush, I'm going to fall pretty far behind, and be very much in danger of losing. Oh yeah, there after installing Gravedigger, I tried to get the click back for Autoscripter, but Autoscripter trashes when you make an unsuccessful run, and when I bounced off Touring, that went into my heap. So far, you know, there's a lot of admin on my side usually. Excuse me. But I normally keep on top of it, but do occasionally make some errors. I'm really down for adjusted chronotype now. Only having 3 clicks a turn is a killer, especially as I don't get the clicks back for installs. I've not got Beckman out, so I don't have any extra clicks. But I have a handful of cards, and I don't want to just start drawing to then bin everything into my heap. So make a run on R&D there. No res, managed to get through, still got a handful of cards. And only 1 click left. So run on HQ. Use Data Sucker to bring the strength of Architect down to 2, which is the same strength as Faust. Then I will bin another Faust to break 1 subroutine, and then have a think whether or not I need to break them both. But he's got an archive full of cards that I don't know. I can't let him fish an agenda out to install it and score it next turn. So I end up binning a Deja Vu. Pull into Cyberdeck's Virus Suite, which is not the worst time for me to get it. I lose my Data Sucker tokens, but that's okay. And then I trash it, but now I'll need to be aware that I can't make a run or access archives without losing all my virus tokens. So In the economy war, I'm slightly ahead, 12 to Richard's 9, and now 10. But I don't have enough to beat an Ash Trace, really, after getting through a couple of bits of ice, so I'm going to probably not make a play on that server either this turn. But finally get adjusted chronotype, so I'll have my full 4 clicks next turn. Wild Side and adjusted chronotype being the main part of the combo that I need. Every other card plays into it, but is not necessary. So now I'm going to just start installing viruses as quick as I can. I use Deja Vu, bring back a cache and another virus for Gravedigger. So here I've got enough money, I'm going to go for the mill. Now installing on Scheherazade gives you a credit back. Grimoire gives me an extra virus token. So installing cache now gives me 4 credits, the same as a... In fact, gives me 4 credits, 5 credits, 4 credits. The same as a Sure Gamble. So luckily in that remote he's only got an Adonis. Breaker Bay reduces the cost of res cards in that same remote by 5. Adonis only costing 4 to res, so reses it for free and immediately gets 3 money. He's going to put the remaining 9 tokens on there just during my turn, but in a minute he'll be swimming in cash as well. So there he was saying, you know, cost him 1 to install, but I forgot he had Eden Fragment scored, so he gets that 1 credit as well. And I'm going to fall a little bit behind in the money game, but that's okay. Now there, if Hacktivist was still out, that'd be quite good. You'd have to have binned 3 cards for those 3 reses at random from his hand. But obviously scoring before then really prevents that from being an issue. And I think, as I said, I think I'm only running 1. It's useful when it's useful, and other times it just clogs up your hand. I guess now that I'm running Faust over Crypsis, I could put another one back in and always use it to be binned to break a subroutine or to pump for strength. Alright, so my economy engine is also quite strong. As long as I can keep installing cheap viruses, I can always sell them back to Aesop at the start of my turn to money up. I don't need money to break any subroutines. The only thing I need money for really is to trash assets and steal any PDs. Here I inject, turn over top 4 cards. Any programs go into the trash, and you pick up anything and get 1 credit for each, and then you pick up anything that's not a program. So again, another handful of cards there. I make a run on R&D. Now that I've got so many, there's an Eli there. I could click, but again, with so many cards in hand, I might as well use them to break through Eli's. I'd otherwise just have to discard them anyway. Takes 3 cards to get through Eli with Faust. Quite good. So you bin 1 card, you get +2 strength, taking you to 4, matching Eli's, and then 1 card per subroutine. So I'll start by binning any duplicates. So it's Grimoire. There's that Gravedigger that I Deja Vu'd for. A bit of a waste, but c'est la vie. And end up, I've got so many cards, you know, now I've had worse. Never really going to get a chance to play it and get all the cards out of my hand. Same old things in there in case Levy AR access gets binned somehow, or if I pull it too early and end up binning it myself. Really, the deck needs to levy at least once usually to get full advantage of it. If you don't get to that stage, chances are, you know, the other decks are rushing and you're pretty much out of luck. I seem to have... Do I only have 5 cards in hand? Yeah, I think so. So Richard needs to dig for his agendas and just really start scoring. I mean, 17 money is not going to last him forever, but it's enough to get a few more points out and put the pressure on me more than himself. Here I'm going to deja vu, bring back more money most likely. Again, probably a money and a gravedigger again. And try and not balls it up this time. Here, so that gains me 4 cash. Cash gains me cash. And then install gravedigger. You see it only cost me 1. Ordinarily cost 2. But Scheherazade giving 1 credit back. So that Adonis campaign's almost done. When it trashes, if I can leave the gravedigger out, it'll get a token, which I'll be able to use to mill a card from the top. I think I mentioned in previous videos that milling comes from Magic the Gathering. There's a card called Millstone, which would do the same thing. You take a card from your library and put it into your graveyard. Those being your stack and heap or R&D and archives, respectively. So here he installs, doesn't cost him anything, and he actually gets a credit for his ID. Would normally cost 2 because there's already 2 pieces of ice in that server. Now there he installs over the top of the Adonis, which does trash it. So same net effect for me. So install ice action 1, install an agenda 2, and then advance 3. So I can be pretty sure that's another agenda. I'll have to have a think about how I'm going to get in. I've got a David in hand. Now touring starts at strength 2, but if it's on a remote, which it is, it gets +3 strength, taking it to 5. So David will be able to get through that. But only a limited number of times. So click 1, I install David, comes with 3 tokens. Once those tokens are gone, they're gone. I could have considered drawing a few more cards before making that run. But if it is Caprice and it can keep me out, then you know, fairly moot point anyway. There is his next gold. There's no other next out, but strength 4 sentry, do X net damage and trash X programs, where X is the number of pieces of next ice. Now there's only one, so it does 1 net damage and trashes 1 program. And then here Richard's debating whether, or asking me if I'm sure I want to do it because it's only doing 1. But yes, have to, otherwise you could trash your Scheherazade, I can't get through touring, or you could trash Faust and I can't get through whatever's behind it. So no real choice. And if I'm going to get pinged for 1 card anyway, I'd be as well choosing which one it is. So we're on approach to the last bit of ice, and it is a Caprice in that remote. You'll see Richard there pays 2, but he shouldn't. Breaker Bay would let him res that for free. And then the final bit of ice is next silver. So that's going to have 2 subroutines. I'd have to bin 2 cards from hand to get through it, but I really want to keep the cards that I have. I find a credit there somewhere. I think it must be what I used to break. That must be a David credit. And I think earlier as well I did cheat. I played I've Had Worse, and instead of paying a credit I took a credit. Error on my part. It wouldn't I don't think it would have slowed me down too much. I would have played Sure Gamble a turn later, but I still would have instead had viruses down to sell to Aesop. So I don't think it was a decisive factor in the game, but it is something I noticed once watching it back. So Richard going to spend his turn triple advancing, scoring a 4-2. It's NAPD. Now paying for NAPD is not too much of a problem now. I've got plenty of money. Although I do seem to have my credit total out slightly. I appear to have 25. When I should have 20. No, well, I've marked up 26 when I should have 25. But again, not going to make too much difference at this point. So I managed to mill a fair few cards. Parasite's the best answer there for next silver as well. Immediately comes in with 1 token on it for Grimoire, which is enough to reduce its strength to 0 and trash it. So if Richard can find another agenda, still be quite difficult for me to get into that remote. So I'll probably have to install Hades, which I think I've had in hand for a while, get as many mills in as I can, and then pop it. So pretty much end game for both of us here. If he can score out an agenda before I can get the points, he'll win, and if I can mill enough and install Hades, he'll win. So I think this is turn he'll install advance, or install advance. So install gets credit, then advances once. So probably another NAPD in there. So this is my last turn. I have to do the combo part. So I'll sell Grimoire to Aesop, getting 3 monies. Get my 2 cards for Wildside and Chronotype. I check my MU. It's only 4. When you sell Grimoire, sometimes you have too many programs out, and you actually end up having to trash a few things. So I have to install over the top, but it doesn't matter. It's last turn either way. So install cash for the mill, install turntable so I can get that 3-pointer or the 2-point NEPD if it comes to it. Then wait and see if he's going to pop Jackson. I'm really just messing around to see if they're going to do anything, because once you install Hades, they don't have a chance to react. So always give a little bit of a potter before it happens. You can't ask them, because otherwise they'll do it. They'll oh yeah, I should get rid of something, and there I'll flip over the top 2 cards for the win, 3-pointer and a 2-pointer. Now in this instance, I'll go fishing through R&D archives. Sorry, there a little bit more. It wouldn't have mattered if he popped Jackson. He couldn't get enough back out, and there was more in there as well. And I would have swapped the 2-pointer for a 3-pointer, which would have given me the win. So unless he had 2 Jacksons on the board, he wasn't going to save himself there. But yep, next turn he would have scored, and had he been a little faster, I would have very much struggled. But good first game against Richard there. We're going to go into our second game just shortly, and that will be Biotech versus Haley. Stay with us and subscribe to see when that's uploaded.